Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. If you have any questions, feel free to write to me at walkwithtak@gmail.com, and I will answer your question as quickly as I can. Now, today's video, I want to demonstrate the use of ginger. Now, ginger is a very popular condiment in Asian cooking. In fact, ginger is probably one of the oldest herbs and spices that are being used. And in many parts of East Asia, such as China, Vietnam, as well as in India, ginger is extremely popular. Ginger can be eaten in many different ways. In this case, this is a pickled ginger, which is very popular in Japanese sushi. And also, most people in the West are familiar with ginger in terms of ginger powder. Now, ginger powder is used in baking quite a bit. For example, the gingerbread cookie is a good example of using ginger powder in the case of baking. However, to season a dish with ginger, a lot of time you use the ginger raw, either by cutting them up into thin slices or mince them. Now, one of the biggest challenges in cooking ginger that I have experienced over the years is how to peel the ginger. Now, until I discovered this method, I peel the ginger the wrong way. I try to use a knife, and sometimes I use a peeler, and it really does not work very well. So consequently, this has been preventing me from using ginger, and I find it uncomfortable to use ginger simply because I do not know how to peel the ginger properly. It was not until I just saw my cousin Marge. She's very good in peeling ginger, and it turned out that you peel ginger using a spoon. I mean, that would be the last thing I would imagine that you can use to peel ginger. But the spoon works very effectively. As you can see in here, it will only remove the skin of the ginger. Now, once you peel the skin of the ginger, there are several different ways that you can use ginger. And one of the most common ways is that you can use the ginger as a slice. And in this case, you can use the ginger to stir fry. And usually you add the ginger in the beginning and you use the hot oil, basically to stir fry the ginger pieces. And this will give flavor to the oil. In this situation, most people will not eat the ginger because if you bite into the ginger, the flavor is very strong. So in order to eat the ginger, the best way is that you cut them up into thin slices. And in this case, and then you further chop them up into tiny strips. And usually as little as you possibly can. Now again, it depends on the dish that you cook. In some dishes, you want them in bigger pieces. When you use this method, you actually will eat the ginger. And since the ginger are in small pieces, the effect is not going to be as strong as it is in a slice. Now, for people who love the flavor of ginger, that's probably the only way they want the ginger to be cooked. And this is an example of my wife, and she loves ginger. And for whatever reason, even though she never grew up with ginger, once she tastes ginger, she found it to be something that she really enjoys. Now, I grew up with ginger, but I really do not like the taste of ginger, even though I do like the smell of ginger. And because of this reason, when I cook now, I always cut the ginger into small pieces like this, and then I will put them over the food ingredients. Now, the ginger works really the best in steaming, particularly for steaming seafood, like the steam of fish, as well as any other type of seafood such as lobster and shrimp, and ginger works extremely well. Here's a demonstration of how I'm going to prepare a steamed dish where ginger is an important component and it adds significant flavor to the dish because it provides freshness to the steamed dish. Now, this steamed dish, which I would call it a one-meal dish. In other words, this dish will contain all the ingredients that I need for a particular meal, so therefore it contains many different types of ingredients. For example, in this dish, I'm going to steam some broccoli, but that's the only part of the ingredients that to go into this dish. And the end result is that by combining different ingredients in this steamed dish, you can achieve a complete meal, not just from the standpoint of flavor, but also from nutritional standpoint. So after I added the broccoli, I'm going to add some king oyster mushroom, which is excellent for steaming. Now again, when you create this type of dish, the natural flavor of the ingredient is very important. by combining different ingredients, you can structure the flavor profile of this dish in a specific way. So after I add the king oyster mushroom, the next type ingredients that I'm going to put in is some portobello mushroom. The portobello mushroom has very different and distinct flavor as well as texture from the king oyster mushroom, and this will make the dish far more interesting. Now the major component of this dish is some fish. Now this fish is known as swai. It came from Vietnam. This fish is a fish very similar to catfish, but it has a slightly different texture. It's a firmer texture. It's a white fish. The fish has relatively mild flavor, so it works excellent in a steamed dish because it will then pick up the flavor from other food ingredients in the dish. In addition, I'm going to also add some lobster. These are lobster tails, which I have cut them into small pieces so it will fit better with the dish. The lobster and the fish is going to be the primary components of this dish, and it will provide great flavor. Now, to achieve diversity in a dish like this by adding multiple ingredients is really the key. And the next is that I'm going to add some shiitake mushroom. Now, shiitake mushroom has a nice savory flavor. It is rich in umami molecules. When you combine them with the other two mushrooms and the fish as well as the lobster, it really provides an excellent flavor as well as texture to the dish. And then I have some carrot. Now carrot is also an important part of this steamed dish because carrot provides sweetness to the dish. So it makes the overall flavor of this dish much more complex and more interesting. And this is the reason why I call this is a one meal dish, because we already have 3 kinds of mushroom, and then we have broccoli, and we have carrot, and then of course we have the fish and lobster. And next, I'm going to add the ginger to the dish. Now the ginger is cut into small pieces. Basically, they are small strips. And because of this reason, you can actually bite into the ginger without having that strong flavor of the ginger if you have been put them into slices. And this is the way how my wife enjoy the use of ginger. In this case, I put the ginger right on the top of the food ingredients because then the flavor of the ginger will infiltrate downward. And the last step I finish this dish is by adding some scallion. So in here, you have a complete meal. But in this case, the ginger plays a significant role for this dish. Particularly for people who love ginger, this is probably the best way to incorporate ginger into a steamed dish. The next approach to use the ginger is to mince the ginger. Now, in this case, the ginger will be actually blend into the food ingredients. And this is very popular in many different ways, that when ginger wants to be used as an important flavoring agent, and in this case, you use ginger in such a way that it will carry a strong flavor for the dish. Now, the best way to use this method is that after you peel the ginger, you want to mince the ginger. As you can see here, is that I use the spoon to peel the ginger, and it worked extremely well. Now, quite often, in this case, I have a larger piece of ginger, and I'm able to hang on to the other part of the ginger, and I peel it just like I will sharpen a pencil. Now, this is the amount of ginger that I need. Now, instead of cutting them into thin slices and then cut them into strips, I just cut them into relatively small pieces. This will allow me now to mince them. But mincing ginger can be a lot of work, a lot of chopping. So I discovered the best way to mince ginger is use a small food processor. My friend Virginia gave me this small food processor, and I love this food processor because you do not use electricity, so you can use it anywhere you want in the kitchen. It is a handheld manual food processor. Basically, you pull a string, and that will revolve the blade inside the food processor. And the blade works extremely well in mincing up the ginger. And again, the more you pull it, the more the mincing will take place. So you can make adjustment how much you want to mince the ginger. And as you can see, it worked very well, and it took takes really literally only seconds to have the ginger mince. And now you are ready. Before I have this mini food processor, I used to chop them by hand, and that takes a lot of work. Now, the way how to use this minced ginger, in this case, I'm cooking a chicken, and I call it ginger chicken. My wife loves ginger, and she loved the chicken that I cook this way. So I add the ginger right toward the end, just about when the chicken almost done. And of course, in this dish, I have several other ingredients. I have some color bell pepper, as well as some scallions. And together, I create this ginger chicken, and simply by mixing everything together right at the end. And the benefit of this is that you're going to have maximum ginger flavor for this dish. Okay, so these are the two ways that you can use ginger. And in both these ways, you can eat the ginger as well because they're cut into small pieces. So I post a video each day to help you to make home cooking as part of your daily routine. And by using my fast cooking system, you can make home cooking practical, efficient, creative, and fun. So if you'd like to learn more about my fast cooking system, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. So keep on cooking. I will see you tomorrow.